Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of the Streamlined Solopreneur. It is the annual gift guide episode, and whilst I have been doing these alone the last few years, I have felt that is boring and monotonous, and so I've decided to bring in my friend Kat Mulvihill today. Kat, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for inviting me. I love talking to you about nerdy stuff. So I think this fits. This is a really good idea.
Yes, this you were the first person and only person I reached out to because I'm like, Kat and I nerd out on gear and stuff all the time. And so if you are a person or have a person who works from home or is self-employed or and you're just like, I don't know what to get them, I feel like this is going to be a good episode for you. But Kat, first, breaking my main rule of podcasting, I am going to ask you to let the people know who you are and what you do, even though you've been on the show before.
Yeah, I am a trainer and I love teaching a lot of different things. The primary thing I teach is virtual presenting skills. So if you are presenting virtually, how can you make them look more professional and seamless and engaging presentations? And I also, though, I'm a productivity nerd. So I also find myself often talking about systems and productivity or tools. I love me some Notion. So I often talk a lot about Notion. So I love presenting, I love productivity, and those are kind of my two main things.
Yes, which again, very similar. So I feel like this is good. We have similar backgrounds, we do similar things, but we have different walks of life and stuff. So I figure we can approach the same thing from different perspectives. I'm pretty excited. So,
Yeah.
um, and we will have a very rich show notes section in the description of wherever you are listening to this. I also noticed that we didn't recommend like a proper mic, though you do have something on the list, and I have like a counter if you're gonna bring it up. Uh, so anyway, what a fun tease. Kat, you're the guest, so I'll let you go first.
Okay, so the first is not a thing, but it's something that I try. It's a principle I try to live by when it comes to buying anything, and especially investing. Is that I really want you to ask yourself this Black Friday, what problem do I need to solve? I think that you are going to get the biggest reward from any purchases you get when you are truly making your life better by solving a problem. And it's so easy to see things online or someone suggests something and then you think, "Oh, that seems really cool," but it doesn't actually solve a problem. And when you get it, it just might be fleeting. And so that's a big thing I just want to say off the top. What problem does it solve? How does it make your life better? And so that's just a little thing I want to say up front when it comes to it. I don't know if there's anything you want to say to that before we continue on, but definitely
No,
that's a big
I
one.
I love that. What I'll usually do is make a list of things I want to buy ahead of time, and those will be the only deals I look for on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like you're right. You can go a little overboard. I've certainly bought things that I didn't use. I never used from a Black Friday sale. I mean, AppSumo is like the number one website of like wasted money, I would say, for like just taking advantage of deals. But the same thing goes for gifts, right? Like I'll buy stuff on Black Friday that I think on a whim might make a good gift, and then I'm like, oh no, I thought of something better, and I just bought this because it was on sale. So hopefully this will save you some money and give you some good ideas going into Black Friday and the holiday season. All right. Well, with all of that in mind, yes, let's get to our first product recommendation here. What's
Okay.
number? Well, I don't want to say number one on your list, but what's the first thing you're ready to recommend?
Okay, so this might seem strange for me to go with, but because I noticed as you were sharing some of the things on your list, there are things around the home and something that has made a huge difference for me as a solo entrepreneur is that I work at home most days, the air fryer. So just if you don't have one yet, and I know this is a few years behind the trend, however, if you still don't have one, the dual basket air fryer is a game changer for the solo entrepreneur because you can actually make a really decent lunch in a very small amount of time and it's delicious. And the reason I say dual basket is because you can put a protein on one side and vegetables on the other side. You can have different temperatures, different times. And that I just can't even believe there was a time before the air fryer. So if you, especially if you're gifting for someone who spends time at home, your lunches can just go up a notch. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to treat yourself kind of like an athlete. If you are in this for the long haul, this is not easy. And so making sure that you have a decent lunch, I think, is really important. So that might not be what people expected, but it's what I'm going to start with and throw that out there.
No, this is great. Because I'll tell you, as we record this, yesterday I couldn't figure out what to make for lunch, and so I just door dashed a sandwich, which I shouldn't have done, but it was easy.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet
do
I bet you could get an air fryer for the price of maybe 4 door dashes. So just think about the money you'll save.
Yeah, so much money and like way healthier, right? Do you have like a specific one you recommend? Like, is there like a brand that you like here? I
I
assume
just
Dual Basket is not the brand.
Dual basket's not the brand. Dual basket just means there are 2 different baskets.
Yeah,
I would say for air fryer that I don't have a specific brand. I ended up just buying the Costco one that I found a couple years ago, and it's been
nice.
fine. I think I paid around $140. I do actually have a toaster oven air fryer as well. We just don't use it as often because I find that it smokes a lot more easily when if oil touches any of the bottom heating elements, then it starts sometimes it sets off the fire alarm and no one has time for that. So that's why I've gone with the
Seriously,
basket version.
I love that. My kids are like traumatized by the smoke alarm because
Hmm.
there's like something in the bottom oven of our stove, I guess,
Yeah.
and when we turn on the broiler or something, it just like
Yeah.
smoke, and they're like, we got to go outside. They're very so reducing the amount of times the smoke alarm goes off is great.
Yes.
Um, awesome. Well, I'm gonna stay in the kitchen. I assume this is why you added the air fryer, but
I did.
my wife for my birthday, I think not this most recent one, but the one before, got me the Bonavita coffee grinder. Our favorite coffee is the Reading Coffee Company. They're local to us in Pennsylvania. Um, Jazzy Java. It's just like I can't. I should be able to describe it because it tells us exactly. But there's like pecan and chocolate and caramel, and it's just like amazing. And it's like very. It's like a little holiday, but we drink it year round. It's so good. And I like getting whole beans because I have an espresso maker and we have a drip coffee maker, and the Bonavita coffee grinder is the best one that I've personally used. Great settings, works well, never clogs up. So I'm a big fan of that. If you work from home or someone you love works from home, they're going to be drinking coffee and making coffee at home. There's nothing better than freshly ground coffee beans in the morning.
Yes. I am a while I don't rave about my coffee grinder. I am a full bean girl.
Yeah.
And so I grind and then I'm a French press. I just 5 minutes in the French press. But the one thing I did do, this wasn't on the list, is since I started making, I got a new tea kettle and I do 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the perfect level for the French press. And I do find that it is a better coffee. You kind of get that nice, what is it, the crema at the top, even in the French
Yeah.
press. I think when it's too hot or not hot enough, you don't get that. So having a kettle with the specific temperatures, that's been really great too.
Yes, great point. We have an electric tea kettle with like the different settings for the whatever caffeine you're going to
Yeah.
brew essentially. And yeah, that's I wasn't sold on that, and then my brother-in-law was bringing coffee over, and he would just boil water, and he's like, this doesn't taste as good. It tastes like burnt. And I'm like, yeah, you're boiling the water and it's making the beans too hot. Like it's like so yeah, absolutely. Brew your coffee at the right temperature, friends. I have a Notion document with all the proper grinds based on the coffee maker and how hot things should be. So
Nice.
yeah, awesome. All right, what's up next for you?
Okay, this one is inspired by something else that you had on the list, and I can't remember exactly, but I think you and I are on the same page here. Lamy fountain pen. I know you're a fountain
Mm,
pen person. I don't know if you're specifically Lamy. I have four, which is you don't
nice.
need that many. You just don't need that many. But if you do have more than one, it means you can have different nibs, different pen colors. The reason I love it so much is that I had gone so digital that I was really missing physically writing. And this past year, I saw a speaker who was talking about her journal entries, and I thought, you know what, I miss? I just miss sitting down and writing in my journal. And what made that experience even better is that I brought out my old fountain pen, which I hadn't used in a while, and it sort of reignited that love of just sitting down and journaling. And the thing that I also recommend is picking a journal that gives you just enough space. And the reason, and I think you know this, Joe, because I was going back and forth about what journal to get, and I landed on one that had a couple of prompts on one side of the page, but then it just one blank page. And it feels like that's not very daunting. I can write one blank page and I can answer prompts, but I don't have to. And that's been really nice. I've been doing that now for, I think, around 4 or 5 months. Love the combination of the physical journal with that fountain pen. And for me, I have a nice turquoise or teal ink that I just get
Mm.
I got the ink just from Amazon and it just fits the pen. And you can get some pretty affordable ink for your fountain pen there.
Yes. So on top of, I guess I should have said this at the top of the show, but the show notes will contain affiliate links. So on top of whatever affiliate link Cat gives me for the specific Lamy pen, I will link to my pen buyer's guide. The great thing about like the Lamy Safari is that it's like $25, right? It's like
Yeah.
a affordable, well-made fountain pen. If you like aluminum, you can get the Lamy All Star.
Yes,
Um,
that's I've got both, and I do love
yeah,
that All Star.
yes, I have the Lamy 2000. That's like the a higher end. Like it has like a white gold nib. My wife Erin got it for me for Christmas one year, with a custom nib grind. So like yeah, this is rabbit hole alert, but like big fan of the analog tools because like can I tell you that I basically do everything in front of a screen that is just like glaring light. And yesterday I just sat out on my porch. It's getting to finally be nice and not too warm here. Um and I just like sat and stared out into like the middle distance because I was like so sick of staring at screens
Yeah.
and you like it's not the same effect on paper. It's pen and paper. It feels really nice. And so cosign on that. I'm fully with you there. Okay. So my next we're like so we have a document broken up into categories for those who are wondering how the sausage is getting made here. And we started with the miscellaneous category first. So I think we're probably gonna save tech for last if we're working in a certain direction. So the next thing that I'm going to recommend is not writing related. It is home comfort. I had pretty severe plantar fasciitis earlier this year. Like my calves and my Achilles heel were like killing me. And my friends, on top of like the therapy stuff you're supposed to do, recommended a footwear brand called Ophos, Oofos. Uh, my friend who runs marathons said that she wears them after the marathon to help her recover, and like just a couple of days of these sandals that she has um helps her, and game changer. Like they're so comfortable. It's like walking on foam all the time. So if you or a loved one is looking for like good at home footwear, comfortable, they make sneakers. But I love the sandals. They're just like easy to slip into and they're very comfortable. And I'm telling you, they heal like I haven't had plantar fasciitis since like 2 weeks probably after I got them. So
You
big
know,
fan of them.
this is really interesting because I had a foot problem also that started a couple years after working from home. And when I went and got help for it, they did say if you're just if because I have hardwood floors through most of the house, and they said if you're just walking around barefoot a lot in your house, in your home a lot, that can start to potentially cause problems. And so I did start wearing first I was wearing running shoes with orthotics in them because I was in a lot of pain. And now I've
Yeah.
sort of migrated because that's calmed down. I just wear Birkenstocks in the house And it does also make a difference. I'm not perfect about it, but I never thought, it wasn't until you started talking about your foot problems and I thought, that's so funny. I also had foot problems, and they kind of blamed that I used to work in an office and I would always have footwear on. And then when I started working at home, I almost never had footwear on at home. And yeah, wearing some supportive footwear.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I should be clear to the listeners too that I'm not like some athlete. I didn't get plantar fasciitis like running or something. I'm like, it's just living is what did it to me.
Oh man. Awesome. This is funny. Yeah. This is probably not what people are expecting on our lists, by the way, but
that's cool. Well, we'll get to the tech. We'll to the tech and EDC stuff, but this is just like gift. Cause I mean, like, look, like 9 to 5 Mac and The Verge and all of those at Wired, they're all going to have their like top 20 tech gifts for your loved one or whatever. Like, so like we're solopreneurs. We work from home. Yeah. This is just stuff we find useful that we think you or a loved one might find useful.
So the one I'm going back to writing. It's a little bit of a boomerang here. And this is, as much as I love writing in a journal with ink, I also like the analog, but don't necessarily always want to keep every single thing I write down. So I'm also a really big fan of the Rocket Book. And yes, there are varying degrees of capturing notes digitally. The Rocket Book I just find very affordable and accessible. The other thing is, so the way it works is it looks like a journal. The paper, though, it's actually a really nice smooth paper. I really like it. And then you have a special pen that you can erase. I have the multicolor pack so that if I want to brainstorm and doodle and capture ideas, I can use different colors on them. And then you can just wipe the page clean with a microfiber. The reason I like it is because it's got that tactile experience, and I only save what I want to save, because there are other capture devices where they save every single note you take. One, they're usually a little bit more expensive. And then the other thing is, I'll look through it later and say, oh, I want to keep this. I'll take a picture, and you can use the Rocket Book, or sometimes I'll just take a picture and upload it to Notion. But sometimes I just don't need to save the thing I wrote down, and I can just wipe it clean. Versus a journal, I want to be able to go back and look at those journals. And so it still has a little bit of that analog, which I find for being creative and brainstorming, especially if I'm just trying to generate a lot of ideas or, I don't know, map out concepts. I really do like the analog a lot. So that's my next plug, is the Rocket Book.
Yes. Can I tell you that this concept is at least 24 years old? I remember, first of all, I backed the Rocket Book on Kickstarter when it launched in like 2014 or whatever. Do you still have to you don't have to microwave it anymore? You used to have to microwave it to erase it. Yeah.
Oh, was that because it was heat based? No.
So
you just use a damp microfiber cloth, and it just erases the pages.
Cool. They used to say like they would sell an erasable pen, but they said it worked with any erasable pen, and then you would microwave it for like 30 seconds with a little cup of water in there.
Interesting.
And the moisture would erase the whole book. So
okay.
Yeah, wild. So it's come a long way. But the first one that I ever had was a notebook and pen set, and this pen looked like one of those like physical therapy grip pens, and it plugged into your computer via USB. And so I would take it to school with me. I'd be sitting in physics class, and I'd be taking notes with it in this specific paper that had like a dot grid so that it knew on the page where you were. You'd go home, plug it into your computer, and then it would upload all of the strokes on that page. And I'm like, this is the future. And now I basically, well, actually, this is related to my next pick. It's called the Rock. So I keep messing up the name because I'm using the two words interchangeably. But it's by Astropad, and it's called the Rock Paper Pencil. Yes.
I just really wanted to finish that and say scissors.
So yeah, right. Yes. That's why I keep messing it up, because I'm like, I keep calling it the Rock Paper iPad. But it is a matte iPad screen protector, and then a custom Apple Pencil tip. And it is because another thing I've been searching for since like the beginning of iPad times is a writing experience on the iPad that feels like paper.
Mm,
And the rock paper pencil by Astropad has been the best. I used to get the paper but like the installation process was annoying. And once it was on, right? The cool thing about the rock paper pencil is that it comes with its custom tips, so it feels even more like writing on paper. But it also uses like some nano something whatever, like some fancy thing that they say to stick it to the screen so you can take it on and off.
oh,
Because
okay.
like I have the 2024 iPad Pro, 11-inch iPad Pro with like the beautiful OLED screen, and if you put like a matte screen protector on there, like it doesn't look great for watching movies, but it comes with a little case and you could take the screen protector off and just stick it back on when you need it.
Okay. That's good to
Yeah.
know. That was my next question is where do you put it? You don't want it to get tacky or start to lose its
Yeah,
stick.
so it comes with like a little sleeve that I haven't been super diligent about using, but it comes with it. And I love it. I will, I still have like I have like my William Hanna notebook. But when I'm like writing stuff, and especially if I know I want to capture it or review it later, I'll write it in the Apple Notes app because in iOS 18 the handwriting recognition is bananas. So like I'll do handwritten notes, highlight it, convert it to text and paste it into Notion or Obsidian, and it's extremely accurate even for my like crappy handwriting. So big fan, rock paper pencil by Astropad. If you take a lot of notes on your iPad, like if you write a lot of notes on your iPad, really good.
And I don't because I don't love the experience of writing on glass. So that's interesting. I should check that out.
Yeah, it's the best. I'm not going to tell you like it feels like writing on paper. Like that's just like a straight up lie to like anybody saying that. It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It feels a lot more like writing on paper. You get that friction, right? And you get that like tactile feel and like the scratchy sound, right? It's not just like plastic tapping glass wondering if you're going to like dent it. So big fan, big fan.
Okay, is it my turn? I think so.
It is your turn.
So I'm going to mention something fun. I don't know if this is the thing that you have a response to, and this is it's for your microphone if you have the MV7, the SM7B, and I think there's maybe one more. And it's
The
called
pod
Doc
mic.
Pops. Doc Pops. And they're by my friend Doc Rock. And I was able to see him last month and got my hands on a few. So I have blue, pink, and purple, depending
Nice.
on my mood. And I can change the microphone cover. And typically, I have actually just had black, and I wear black every time I record videos. So my microphone has been hidden, but I actually I still love just wearing black in every video because it just makes all the decision making very easy. But I like the ability to just add a pop of color to my microphone because my mic is usually in the shot. And I've been mixing it up with these Doc Pops. So I just want to put a shout out there for my friend Doc and also the idea of the Doc Pop and adding a little bit of color. And I think there's also red and green and maybe
Yeah,
orange, I think are
blue.
the ones that are available. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out. I guess not really friend of the show because he's never been on, but friend of both of us, Doc
Yes.
Rock.
Yeah.
Very cool. Fellow New Yorker living in a different place now. Yeah, this is super cool. This is not what I had the response to.
Okay.
But if we're talking about pops of color, so first of all, I have the SM7B, so I'm definitely gonna check it out. If he has yellow, I'll wait for like yellow because if he's gonna get
I
that
can't
because
remember all of them. I'm not sure there's
yeah,
yellow, but we could check.
yeah, I'll put in a special request because that's my brand color. I got to stay on
Mm-hmm.
brand. Um, but speaking of pops of color, I just picked up the Kindle Color Soft, which is the new Kindle that has the e-ink color screen. I was skeptical because usually, right, if you try to do color, it looks like garbage on the e-ink. But it's been a pleasant, like a pleasant experience. Like it like puts a smile on my face every time I like open up a book cover and it's like I see the color. It's not like overdone, but it's nice. And what I like too, because I'm a huge dork, is now you have different color highlights. So like
Oh, yeah.
so you could do like so I'll do like yellow highlighting for like facts, and then like pink highlighting for like a like something that's caused like a separate thought that I might want to do a blog post on. I don't know if this translates online, but like if you're glancing at the highlights on the Kindle, like it is different colors, and I like that. And then I've also been experimenting with they don't support Comixology yet, which is Amazon's comic subscription, Marvel's comic subscription that I think is owned by Amazon. But they do support like the Prime Reading comics, and so like I've got some Spider-Mans and some Darth Vaders. And that's okay. I fully expect that to get better because on the iPad app, Comixology will let you like go into like immersive mode and you tap on a frame and then it makes that the full page that you're looking at,
Oh, okay.
so that you're not like squinting. So I assume that's going to be like a version, like a software update. But yeah, it's a great little size, and it's got the wireless charging on the dock, and it's been a very pleasant experience for me so far.
You know, I don't think I had this on the list, but I just want to say for anyone else who is, I know this is for Canada. I don't know about other countries outside of the US. I ended up last year when you talk about solving a problem, one of the problems I had last year is I've had a Kindle for probably 3 years, use it pretty regularly, and then I found out that in Canada you cannot borrow library books to the Kindle. And that would result in me using my phone or my iPad to read, but I really don't like reading on my phone or iPad. And it just dawned on me, I think a few weeks into, I was on a trip and I kept on reading on my phone and I was resenting it. And I realized, oh, you know what? I could buy a second e-reader and just have a Kobo, which is compatible with my library subscription so that I can take out library books on my Kobo. And I just bought it and I realized this is solving a headache. And it's almost my roadblock is that mentally it felt like I own an e-reader. I can't buy another e-reader. And then I realized, oh no, I can because it's solving a problem for me. And so I read my library books on my Kobo. Now I did actually just learn recently that if Kindle stops selling a book that you bought, it can actually just remove it from your Kindle. So the thing
Yeah.
I also just did to solve a problem, which is protect the things I purchased, I bought them, is that I have started to download to make a local copy. And then I've been using the software Caliber to have an EPUB version for myself. And that means that
Oh, cool.
I could read it on my Kobo as well. So that does make it portable. And I had to watch a tutorial online because you do need a little plugin and whatnot. So maybe we can share a link to the video that explains how to do that if
Yeah.
there's anyone who's interested in that. But I just adding a little extra insurance that every book that I have purchased is downloaded and backed up. And I think same thing if I purchase from the Kobo, I think the same thing applies if I want to be able to have a local copy and have it in a format that can be, used on different e-readers.
Yeah, great tip, because that's a really great. I don't think people realize that, right? It's like you can lose access to things that you rightfully paid for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really good point. Love that. How we doing on time? Oh, we got some time. All right. So, what is next for you?
Okay, let's do a little bit of tech.
Yes.
So the one that I am going to put a plug, if you have not used a Stream Deck, you're Stream Deck curious, or you have a Stream Deck, but sometimes you work outside of your home, I've been really loving the Stream Deck Neo. It's 99 US, so as a benchmark, depending where you live, it's pretty affordable. And I have been using it as my portable Stream Deck, but I also just really like it because it's small and simple. It does also have a little bit of a sticky base that if you want, so it won't slide around, which is pretty cool. It's
Mm.
white, it's got 8 keys, but it has little page buttons, sensors, so you can
Oh,
really
yeah.
easily go in between pages. So if you load, say, 3 pages, you could just cycle through those really easily. And it's got a digital display, so you could put the time and the date on there if you'd like to. So there are different options for it. So it's just been a pleasant surprise. And I know I already own too many Stream Decks. However, I really like it. So I thought I would throw that out there for anyone who is curious, or you're like me and you can just throw it in a backpack and bring that with you. And it's USB-C, which is also really nice if you are
Yes.
a Mac user, because if you have a laptop and you're traveling, then you don't also have to bring an adapter. So that's another plus for the Neo.
I was worried that this episode might cost me money, and it might. I mean, I'll wait for Black Friday. I also have too many. I have 2 Stream Decks. I don't know if that's too many. I think some would say yes.
I have 5.
Dang. Okay, cool. So I don't have too many. But I love the little display.
Mm-hmm.
And like my Stream Deck XL has largely turned into timers, like saved timers and lights. And then there's like a whole page dedicated to all my Ecamm live screens. But like with my Stream Deck Plus, like the knobs to control my lighting and stuff like that, I could see the Stream Deck Neo being a really nice little like keyboard shortcut manager for me. Especially when I'm over here. Like my Stream Deck XL is like out of arm's reach now, but like the Neo could be here and I can do some crucial things. Very
It
secretively.
removes some friction. So it solves
Yeah.
a problem. You could
Solves a
also
problem.
you can also use a Stream Deck, another Stream Deck, to control which profiles are showing on your other Stream Decks. So it can also
Dang.
you can treat it like a profile or page manager and use that to launch different profiles to show up on your other Stream Decks too, which is kind of fun. Extra level
That's-
nerdy, but it's possible.
Yeah. I'm going to plug Cat. Is your course still available? I guess I should have asked you before.
Yeah, Stream Deck Essentials. It is.
Yeah. So check that out. I'll have a link in the show notes for that too. Okay. So I just mentioned the Stream Deck Plus. I don't know if you also want to mention that while it's here, because I think you put both of them on the list, right?
No, you had the Plus on there, and that prompted me to put the Neo. But I was going to agree with you but I will say, the Stream Deck Plus, if you have the Elgato prompter, which I also put on the list, if you don't have a prompter yet, they go really well together. So if you are someone who has the prompter, I love the dials for dialing in the brightness, the opacity. You can also dial in the speed really easily. So if you are going to be someone who's using the Elgato prompter, then I think the Plus is a really nice one. It's just it is more expensive than, say, something like the Neo, which is a really nice entry level. But I do like it. If I wasn't using the prompter, I did find prior to this I wasn't using the dials a whole lot. And so in that case, maybe just pure keys for someone might be a good idea. If you don't need the dials, it can feel like you're wasting space not using the dials.
Yeah, that's true. I use the dials heavily because I have 3 key lights. I have 2 key lights and a key light air, and I like to control because like my egress window is right at my desk. And so I usually like to mess with the color temperature. I have a blackout curtain, but like I like to mess with the color temperature and the brightness. And then I've assigned keyboard shortcuts to adjusting my monitor brightness, and I assigned that to a dial. So now I can turn my dial and adjust the screen brightness on my monitor, because if it's dark in my office, my kids like to have a dance party down here because I have a bunch of lights.
Yeah.
And I turn the brightness of the monitor all the way down so that there's not just like this one giant white light in the middle of our dance party. But yeah, so I like the Plus because I use the knobs every day, basically. So, but yeah, great for the prompter too, especially until they fix the voice sync issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have something related which is a remote control, and Elgato has a remote. And the reason that I love the remote for my lights is that if I walk in the morning, usually my computer is not on yet. And I also in the morning keep my phone downstairs overnight. So there are times when I walk into my office /home studio and I don't have my phone and my computer is not on. And so turning on the lights is so easy with the remote. And so this to me it solved a problem. It removed a lot of friction that I don't have to have my computer on. I don't have to use my phone in order to turn the lights on or off. And so you can actually map your lights to the remote and just press the on button there. And you can also adjust the dials as well if you want to play around with the temperature and the brightness and whatnot. But I'm a set it and forget it person. But I love being able to turn it on or off. Sometimes I'll shut down the computer at the end of the day and then realize I haven't shut off my lights. And so the remote has been a game changer for me when it comes to just removing that little bit of friction.
Nice. I use Homebridge, which is like a third-party thing to connect non-HomeKit things to HomeKit. And so I use Homebridge to connect my key lights to the Home app. But I feel like that adds more, not less friction. That's like just like a nerdy automation thing that causes headaches sometimes. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend that, but I did it. But the remote, I like the idea of the remote. So I'll add that in the show notes too. Okay. Neo plus remote. And we mentioned the prompter. Anything else we want to say about the prompter before moving on?
I don't think so. I guess I would say for anyone who hears prompter and thinks that's for script reading, no, my friend. Yes, it can be used for script reading, but I really primarily use it for making eye contact when I am on calls with people, when I'm doing presentations. And yes, it's great if you want to be able to see a script or see your notes, but I actually think it's best for when you're sitting on a virtual call and you can look directly in your camera, but also be looking at the person like I'm looking at you right now using the prompter.
Likewise here. Yes, we're both using the prompter and we're making eye contact. When I'm not on a call, I have a bunch of widgets, like Mac OS widgets for my time trackers and the weather and stuff like that. So it's also just like if you don't want like a full-blown second monitor, which I don't, you have a little dashboard when you're not using it to make eye contact or for scripting. So
yeah,
awesome. Okay. Do you want to go next or should I go next?
Maybe I think you should go. I think I snuck a couple in there with my remote control.
Yes. Well, in related to the remote control and like not wanting to use tech, I just bought this from Instagram ads. It's called the Brick. And it's it's like a 3D printed gray square with an NFC tag in it. So like there's the magic, but it has an app. And so you stick it on your fridge or someplace far away from where you're normally sitting. You tap your phone to it and it like locks down your phone and it'll only give you like up to a certain number of approved apps. And the idea, right, is that I thought, why isn't this, like a focus mode thing, right? You can turn off focus modes, right? But if you use the Brick, it's on my fridge, I'd have to walk across my office, upstairs into the kitchen to unbrick my phone. And so that creates, I think, a good amount of friction. So I just set it up today. So I can't say like it's working for me personally. This is
brand new. Okay.
This is brand new. But the two ways I envision using it, not when I'm working, because like there's too many other things when I'm working. But at bedtime, right? When I go, I'll scan it in the kitchen and then go upstairs. And then I can't check social media in the middle of the night when I wake up or something, right? That's how, or like when I'm out with my kids, right? If like we go for a walk and I just scan the Brick, you get 5 emergency unbricks. I assume a day, but who knows? But I literally can't use my phone if I'm out with my kids, right? Except for like the camera and the message app or whatever. However I decide to configure it. So if you feel a little too addicted to your phone, this is like a good like hardware solution that requires physical movement to solve it.
I really like that because I am an advocate for having boundaries with your phone. I didn't put this on the list, but I'm going to add it for any of you saying, but it's my alarm. Get a real alarm clock. And the one I use, I got it when did I get it? 2021. It's been a while. I have been charging my phone in the kitchen for years now, overnight. That is where it lives. It does not come into the room, full stop. And so I, though, like I think it's Philips, and it's the light alarm clock. So half an hour before your wake time, before the alarm goes off, it will slowly, like a sunrise, it will light up slowly. So it also, you can start to notice that it's starting to be a little bit lighter in the room. And sometimes I'll be able to then wake up before the alarm goes off. Not always, it depends. And then I can go and shut that off. But I love it. Also, if you are sharing a room with someone, when when the alarm goes off, you can turn off the alarm, but still keep the light, and it's not too bright, so that if you are someone who's up before your significant other, then you can still kind of make your way around the room without fumbling and bumbling into things. So that would be a recommendation for me. Get a real alarm clock for your room. Stop having your phone in the room, and your life will be better.
Yeah, I need to do that. I mean, like, I also bring my iPad into the room because I like falling asleep watching TV, which is also not good. Um, but this is good. Maybe I'll get that for my wife, because she is a nurse, always wakes up. Well, she sets like 4 alarms, so maybe the light on her side will just like be enough to wake her up. I always wake up right before her first alarm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I haven't woken up to an alarm in a very long time. Like, the only time I really need to set one is when I have an early flight. And then if I have an early flight, I wake up every hour anyway.
Yeah,
Like, my
because you're
body,
so
like,
nervous you're going to
don't miss your
it.
flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, it's been a long time since an alarm actually woke me up. And so because my wife's is set to around the time I wake up anyway, but I know it's going to go off at like 5:15, I'm usually up right before it. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm not.
Yes.
I need an alarm.
So awesome. A real alarm clock. The Philips Hue, or just Hue light?
I'll look it up. I think it's by Philips, but I'll find it.
Yeah.
So we can put it in.
I mean, they have like the Hue brand, so.
I don't think, but it's not like a traditional Hue. It's just you plug it in,
Yeah.
you set it, and
Right.
you have to set an alarm. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Cool.
call it smart, except for the
Right.
fact that it starts to light up as well.
Yes. Cool. All right. We are coming up on time here. We have a couple more, and then I have like, I don't know if you do a lot of EDC, but I have like an EDC bonus round. If we have time. So
I'm not even sure what EDC means.
Everyday carry. So like pens, yeah, it's like stuff that you usually always have on you.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Oh, there's like a thing. Don't get into it. It's like a whole other rabbit hole thing.
All right.
Okay, cool. So my next recommendation is the iFixit kit. It's used to like repair small electronics, and it comes with, I don't know, 60 maybe. I've got the Pro Tech kit, and it comes with like 60 screwdriver heads or something like that, like very small ones. I got it on recommendation from a podcast I was listening to last year with a gift guide. But it comes with like tweezers and little suction things. Like, so if like you want to replace a broken screen, like you can do that with it too. It has been amazing, mostly for changing batteries in my children's toys, but also just like, it's got all the heads of like something you wouldn't normally have in like a hex kit or an Allen key kit, or like a screwdriver. So I use it regularly. It's been a game changer for me. There's like a really good utility for it, and it's like a fun little gift because it's like no one's ever going to say like, oh, I need that like 5-point screwdriver head, but it comes with it, and so you have it if you need it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got one as a gift last year at a conference of a multi-tool, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something I was seeking out, but it has come in handy, especially with some of the smaller stuff with tiny screws. Anyway,
Yes.
So the next one I'm going to say is, full disclosure, I saw them when I was visiting New York and got a preview of them. They just launched very recently, I think yesterday as of when we're recording this. Rode came out with new wireless headsets for your phone. And so I think it's called the Rode Micro. I believe it's what it's called. And they're nice and small. And so if you are someone who's making content with your phone and you want something that's a little bit more discreet than something like the Wireless Pro, they're a really nice size. And while I do not have personal experience with them because they just came out and they probably won't be on sale in a couple weeks, I doubt, but I just still think they're worth highlighting because I was pretty impressed with the size, the carrying case, and a lot of people are making content with their phone. And so having that option, I think, is really nice. And they have a magnet option as well. So you can clip or you can actually magnet behind your clothes, which is a nice option.
Yes, this was the thing I had the response to because I have the DJI mic that's like similar.
Yeah.
The Rode Micro looks smaller, like a little sleeker. And I know that like Rode also has like this. I think they have the software. Maybe it's sure that has the software, but I love the DJI microphone, but I will say I can't always tell if the mic is enabled, like because the iPhone just doesn't tell you that.
Okay.
And so like that's something good to know. But yeah, I love the DJI mic. It's there, and the Rode Micro looks way more portable. Just something nice to throw in your bag so you have like a decent microphone when you're out and about.
Yeah, and I recently I was working with a client and we used a, let's say, an Amazon Find lav mic, and the audio quality was not good. It was not good. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want the quality, it's worth the price, like the
Yes.
price tag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I know you have one more thing here that I would
Yeah.
strongly advocate for as well.
Really, really quick. Almost every year, I end up buying Black Friday external hard drive, and usually I was buying 1 terabyte. Then last year, about 2 terabytes, and I think I will continue to to do that if you need something on the go. And so just keep an eye out for storage.
Yes. I have opinions about brands for this because like you don't want the Amazon Find for a hard drive, right? Western Digital is a really good name. Samsung also makes a really great like super portable hard drive.
Yeah, I've been using the Samsung, and also they have different colors, blue, red, whatever. So that can help you keep them apart. And then, because I made the mistake of buying the exact same looking one, so I'll use a sticker to try to differentiate between them. But that's just something to keep in mind of being able to tell them apart is helpful.
Yes, I have one of those, and my photos library is on it. So like aside from the iCloud backup, it's on that hard drive. So if something happens to my main computer, I still have like a hard drive with the photos library on it, which I think is neat.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Everyday carry. Well, so I see EDC, and then you have a software recommendation. So maybe we can do like a lightning round for both of us.
Yes.
As far as just like quick recommendations. Do you want to go first on that?
So I just wrote down, okay, personally, big fan of eCamLive, and I'm pretty sure they do something around Black Friday, and I use them almost every single day. So I just want to put that out there. But the other thing I'll just say in general is if there's a software that you love that's part of your, or maybe you don't love it, but it's part of your everyday business, if you've been paying monthly and they have a Black Friday sale, it might be a good time to switch to annual because then you can save money in the long run. The only thing I caution is just pay attention. If you switch all of them, you're going to have a very expensive November every year. And so just make sure that when you're budgeting for the year for your expenses, that you keep that in mind. But I have done that with a few different software, options that I am regularly using. They often have promos, and you might be eligible for the promo if you sign up for the annual. So that's just something to keep your eyes peeled for.
Yes. And definitely like the last week in November is a very expensive week for me. So yeah, do keep that in. Like I signed up for like ConvertKit on a Black Friday deal. And then I want, well, no, Ecamm was September. But like Riverside is in there, right? But yeah, if it's software you use all the time, if you can go annual because like,
Yes.
it does save you some money. Okay, cool. So I'll do a quick EDC bonus round here, or extra round. I love a good pocket knife, good utility to it. I use one regularly, mostly for opening packages. Uh, but I picked up the James brand Folsom knife, and it is like the perfect combination of weight and size. It's like not too heavy. It feels really nice. I got the bone white handle with the black blade, which matches my Apple Watch band very nicely. So, the James brand, I have a couple of their knives. If you're looking for a good pocket knife for you or for someone, there's a good variety at different prices, at different price points. Shady Rays sunglasses. I switched this year from Ray-Bans to Shady Rays. Shady Rays are like half the price, and they have a warranty. So if you break the Shady Rays, they will replace them once for free. So then they usually have like a pretty good like buy one get one deal happening often, and I imagine it'll be for Black Friday too. But there's a lot of different styles there, and I really like them. And again, way cheaper than Ray-Bans. Okay. Kat, feel free to chime in here at any point as I'm like running through this really quick. I have an Apple Watch. I love Nomad, nomadgoods.com. They make a lot of really great watch bands, including the sport band, which is really like sturdy rubber in a bunch of different colors. Like that a lot, though I will be switching to my red watch band for Christmas. I always have a red watch band for Christmas. I have the iPhone 16 Pro with the camera button, which I love. The problem is that I don't want a cutout for my case. And so I got the Beats case. It feels nice. It's like a smooth back. Camera button works really nicely. So if I'm not going caseless, it'll be the Beats case. And then Bellroy wallet. I just love Bellroy if you're looking for good, like everyday carry goods. But the last and probably biggest impact piece of tech for me this year is my Aura Ring. I don't know why I'm doing this. No one's seeing it. My Aura Ring. I love, like I mentioned, I have an Apple Watch Ultra, right? I didn't say Ultra, but I have an Apple Watch. So like it's got the health stuff. The Aura Ring has better, different health stuff. So like sleep tracking is better on the Aura Ring, and it's like kind of more in tune to like how you're overall, like how you're feeling overall. Whereas the Apple Watch is really good for like activity tracking. But I love having all the data, and the Aura Ring is really nice. I benefit from the fact that it can replace my wedding band. I know my wife like wears her Aura Ring on her index finger because she wants to keep wearing her wedding ring. So I do benefit from still only having to wear one ring. But I love my Aura Ring.
So I was an earlier Aura Ring. Wow, that's a mouthful. I got, I think, the second generation and had it for a few years, and it was the one that didn't require a subscription, which was very nice. And then it just sort of died on me, and I decided to try going without it for a little while. So I think I'd use it for 2 straight years. And I was actually logging every morning into Notion. I was putting in my health data. But I ended up saying, okay, what does this feel like without the ring? And I realized that it sort of just eased a little bit off. So I'm just going to do a counterpoint that I am not against trackers. I also have an Apple Watch. I liked having the Oura Ring. And also, I liked not tracking anymore. And one of the reasons was that I realized I felt just a little bit of freedom, because sometimes the ring would say, hey, maybe take it easy today. And I'd get kind of nervous about it, or I would start judging stuff based on the data and not necessarily just checking in with how I'm feeling. And so that was, but now I'm also someone who I will not wear the watch overnight. I know there's some people who like to get their sleep data that way. I just kind of judge based on how I'm doing. I think if the ring was still like the second generation where you didn't have to pay a subscription, I would maybe consider getting again. But I think I'm a convert right now at the moment. We'll see if that changes.
Nice. Yeah, that's I mean, I got it cuz my wife got it for reasons I don't need it. But I liked the sleep data. I have sleep apnea, so I like comparing, how I sleep from week to week. So yeah, I totally get that. if you're into that data stuff, I really like the Aura Ring. If you're like, hey, I really wish like Apple's Watch's sleep tracking was better, I would say the Aura Ring is definitely better for that. All right,
I have one
yeah.
last thing that I wrote down
Yes.
as more of a concept for an idea. This goes back to that concept of solving problems or removing friction. And something I would say, if you're this is probably more for yourself, but maybe you know someone in the house who has this issue. If you are someone who there's a really helpful thing that you use all the time in the house, but you have to move it between rooms, and then sometimes when you need it, it's in the other room, get a second one. Whatever that is. And a good example is that scissors, I used to have to transport scissors between rooms. I think I would have some upstairs and some downstairs, but then even something if I needed to open something new in the bathroom and then in the office, I was going between. And then, of course, it's never where you want it to be. So I have scissors in multiple rooms because that's the context in which I'll need them. And so having multiple scissors, I know that seems like a silly example, but it's removing that friction. Same thing with cables. If you are always looking for a cable and you have to go to a different room to find the cable that you need, have another cable in the room that you need it. So just removing that friction if you are finding that the useful thing that you already own is migrating around your house, it could be helpful to consider just having one a closer proximity. So I guess the answer is a second one or a
Yes.
third one, depending on what it is. But only you can answer what the thing is. But if you notice yourself just being irritated because, the thing is not where I need it to be, that might be a sign that having another one. And I'm not trying to say be wasteful. I just think that can make your life better. So it does solve a problem.
Yeah. If like you were going to do something and then you didn't because the thing wasn't where you needed it to be, maybe that's a good, like we have like a hand vac, right? Which is amazing because like it's made vacuuming easier. But like I needed it and I couldn't find it and it wasn't where I needed it to be. And so like I just didn't vacuum. And so, yeah, I think that's a really good point. We have a second Roomba, right? Because we're not going to move it up and downstairs. So that's been a good one.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. We made it.
Yay.
Good job. Without spending too much of our own money, I think. And hopefully we gave you some really good ideas. If you have a like must use thing that you think would be really useful, I'd love to hear from you over at streamlinedfeedback.com. Go ahead and send a message or leave a voice note and maybe I'll play you on the show. But Kat, if people want to learn more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I spend most of my time either over on YouTube or on LinkedIn. And then also I've got my website, which is catmulvihill.com.
Excellent. I think I've done a good job of keeping track. We'll have a very rich show notes, like I said, for this. It'll be in the description wherever you're watching this. So definitely check out all of this stuff. Leave some feedback if you want. Kat, thanks so much for doing this with me. This was so much fun.
Thanks. I had a lot of fun too. I love nerding out with you.
Likewise. And thank you for listening. And until next time, I'll see you out there.